Welcome to MeVitae. Today we'll be looking at a demonstration of MeVitae's talent screening solution within Leather. At MeVitae, we are moving away from the previous methods of talent screening that focus solely on matching talent. Our solution is an AI hiring agent that will streamline and automate your talent acquisition process from the initial point of creating the job description to the final stage when candidates are hired. We will begin with the job posting. As you can see here, we have created an example requisition that is for a team assistant to retail asset management. We use this prefix to enable or disable the talent screening tool. This means that it can be enabled on a job-by-job basis based on your requirements. In this case, we've added ME1. And that is all that you need to do to enable the tool. The next thing would be to include your job description and requirements as standard within Leather. You will then see that we have included an internal note at the bottom of the requisition that details the key requirements that AI has picked out for this particular role. There is also a link that we can open up to look at these further and make any changes. However, this is not mandatory. If you are happy with the requirements listed below, you can just continue within Leather. So if we take a look at the link, which is set up with single sign-on, we can see the job description on the left-hand side. And the first thing that the system does is take that job description, reads it, analyses it, and then pulls out the key requirements, which we can see here on the right-hand side. Once we have the key requirements, they are automatically labelled as essential, preferred, or nice to have. Although the system does this automatically, they are completely editable too, and you can also add in additional requirements or use the AI regenerate if you would like to regenerate all the requirements again. This ensures that all candidates are assessed against the exact same requirements. For every requirement, there are a number of questions below. These are completely AI generated. The system will use these questions to determine whether or not a candidate meets the requirement. So for example, experience of working in a similar team assistant or PA at a FTSE 250 is broken down into 5 sub-questions. Again, you can edit them, delete them as you wish. You can also add individual weightings to each of these questions between 1 to 5. That way, when the AI is reviewing the candidate, it is prioritising the same areas that you would prioritise. The AI will then take each candidate's resume and after reviewing against these requirements, will grade them 1 to 4. 1 being the candidates who have exceeded requirements and 4 being those candidates who have not met the requirements. This grade will be attached to the candidate profile, but you can also use the search bar, which we'll look at now. When we have the full candidate list open, we can use the search and then advanced search to filter down these candidates. As you can see here, we have the requisition selected, and if we can scroll down, we can then filter the rating to look at candidates between ratings 1 to 3, for example. This will then show us the list of candidates and you can see the rating that each of those have received on the right hand side. If we select Mimi Miller and scroll down, we can see the feedback rating with the grading. We can then open up the MeVitae scored resume so we can see the AI reviewed resume that has the key areas highlighted in green. Next, if we open up the feedback tab, we can see the key requirements and whether or not this candidate has met each requirement, so you can see the yes and the no's there. And then on the right hand side, we've added a hyperlink so you can review the screened resume in more detail. Again, this is all through single sign-on. So when we click the link, we have a very similar view to before. However, now on the left-hand side, we have the candidate's resume, and on the right, we have the requirements. We can see a percentage of how well the candidate has met each requirement, and when we hover over each of the different requirements, the evidence for that requirement has been highlighted within the candidate's resume on the left. We can also click on each of these requirements to reveal the exact questions that have been used for that requirement that are marked as either green or red. Greens means that they have met, and red means that they have not met the requirement. Again, for each of those, if you hover over, then it will highlight the section within the resume. This view is also filterable, so you can choose to look at only the requirements that have been met or those that have not been met. In addition, if you don't agree with one of these, you can change this from a red to a green or a green to a red. If you are changing a candidate from a red to a green, it will ask you to then highlight the area in the resume where you have found that evidence. The system will then be able to learn from your recruiters and adapt off the back of it. Therefore, the more that you use the system, the smarter that it will get. The highlighting functionality can be really useful from the candidate experience perspective. If a candidate has not met the requirements, this can be easily shared with the candidates as feedback on why they have not been progressed to the next stage. In addition, for those candidates who have been advanced but maybe haven't met all the requirements, the questions can be included in the interview to gain the full picture of that individual. And from here, the standard hiring process can continue. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to hello@mevitae.com.